Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. Enjoy the video. Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super discussion, theory, and or speculation video. I am once again joined by the one, the only Mr. Big Sexy himself, or the father of Big Sexy, the person who did fucking title me that, I guess. MJ, what's up, man?
Hello. How are you? Thank you for that intro, but
it's a bit weird.
It's a bit weird. But guys, don't worry, don't fret. MJ is here, and also make sure you go sub to my channel because I'll be having Steel to Steel production T-shirts coming soon. If you would like to purchase those, so make sure you go check me out.
Are you really doing those? Like, you showed me the prototype. Anyway, whatever. That's a whole another conversation. Anyway, guys, today we're going to be talking about Goten and Trunks and why they have not grown. Now, this is a huge issue when it comes to the Dragon Ball fandom. And you know what? I'm only going to be basically talking about why Goten and Trunks have not grown. Obviously, this has to do with just the way the anime wants to tell their story, because everything I talk about right now is going to apply only and can only apply only to Goten and Trunks and other people that we've seen, other Saiyans especially, that we've seen throughout the series. It does not apply to Marin unless she is just kind of a midget person like her dad, which I guess could potentially be the explanation there, but she hasn't grown either, and she's supposed to be like, what, 10, 12, something like that?
Let me say this, brother. Krillin's fully grown downstairs because there has to be a reason that 18 has stayed with him. There's gotta be a reason.
Had no job, guys. Well, he recently got a job, but for those first couple of years, guy had no job. That's ridiculous. Anyway, guys, so MJ, here's my thought on why Saiyans grow differently. And I've covered this on my channel before, but I thought it would be time to kind of get an update, get your thoughts and opinions on this, and just basically see where we're at. And everyone who's listening, please make sure to not only subscribe, but also tell us in the comments section below what you think about this. But anyway, Saiyans grow differently because their biology, at some level, is different than humans. And what I'm saying is we got to look at Goku, Gohan, Trunks and Goten, and future Trunks, especially when we're all thinking about, like, why is Kid Trunks not looking like future Trunks in the same time? Because at this point in Dragon Ball Super, he should be looking like future Trunks was in the History of Trunks arc, especially since Dragon Ball Super gave us flashbacks to the future Trunks arc, basically making that canon and not just the TV special that it actually was. But instead of actually reanimating it and showing Trunks to look like he was now, he literally looks older. So how does this kind of make sense in our head? What's the explanation? This is what I think. They age based on the stress of their environment. Saiyan's whole physical being ages and matures, grows, and allows them to be kind of a more of a unique masculine or, you know, full-bodied adult figure, the more stressful their situation is growing up. So in order to basically explain that, we got to look at the two, or actually the three Saiyans that we know in the canon who look, for most part, like children when they get really old. Like Goku was 12 and 14, he still looked like a baby. Now you have Goten and Trunks in Super still looking like babies when they're, you know, 13 and 14, I think, respectively. Those three Saiyans had very, very relaxed childhoods. And I know you're going to sit there and say, like, but wait. Like, Goten and Trunks had to fight Boo and all that other stuff. That was a real stressful situation. Guys, that was like 3 days. That was like 2 days, something like that. It wasn't even a very long time. They weren't under that type of stress for very long. And outside of that, Goten and Trunks haven't had to do crap basically their entire lives. Their whole purpose of living is basically having fun, chillaxing, and becoming ladies' men like we see at the ending of Dragon Ball Z. And Goku the same way. Goku, after he hit his head and stopped world annihilation and everything, you know, after Frieza destroyed planet Vegeta and potentially, you know, stop the Saiyans from literally going back and getting Goku, and potentially him growing into the Ozaru form and taking out all of Earth and all this stuff. Really stressful environments, right? That would have been a really stressful environment. No, he got like a really nice childhood, got to live in peace and harmony amongst the forest, and he never had a chance to grow, and he never even faced anything that was dire of a situation until Piccolo Daimao showed up. So he never really had a chance. His body never really made him grow up into a full-fledged adult until around that time, or even after that time. And then you look at Gohan and Trunks, and you know, or future Trunks, and you know that those guys aged much quicker than their counterparts. Look at their childhoods, though. Gohan kidnapped by his uncle, kidnapped by his other daddy, and then fought the Saiyans, fought on Namek, fought the android, trained for the androids, hyperbolic time chamber, room of spirit and time. Massive strain physically, emotionally, mentally on the body, as they said over and over. He literally walked into that a child and came out of that a man. I think the Saiyan biology made him grow up quicker because he had to deal with the situation that he was in. Same thing with Trunks. Literally grown up, born, and raised in the future with the androids destroying everything and beating everyone to a pulp just because they felt like it. I feel like that is an interesting kind of headcanon speculation as to why the Saiyans grow differently. What are your thoughts, man?
No, I completely agree with you on that because I think you may have brought this up to me before. So I do agree with you on everything you said. And I want to touch upon Vegeta. From what we see in the specials and in flashbacks, Vegeta does seem to be like a shorty as well. And then he overall isn't that tall. But here's something that actually may back up why he maybe didn't grow as much as compared to everyone else, is because it's mentioned in the manga. I'm not sure if it's mentioned in the special, the Bardock special, but it is mentioned in the manga that he surpassed his dad when he was just a kid. So Vegeta, even though he did live under the stress of Frieza, he walked around, went from planet to planet with pretty much ease, I would think, because the dude as a kid surpassed the king of all Saiyans. I guess due to his potential or the fact that he's just the son of the king, he's the prince for God's sake. So he walked around with a higher battle power than most of the other Saiyans that had to deal with it, and they kind of saw other planets as like kind of like shit, like Bardock was making fun of other planets. So it's like this dude, yeah, he did live with the stress of Frieza, and he did live with the stress of planet Vegeta, being destroyed by Frieza. He overall did kind of just live a life of just kind of like luxury, you know what I mean? He walked around, he was the man. Frieza, if certain flashbacks, treated him better than even like Zarbon and Dodoria. So it's like, don't get me wrong, I do understand him and the Frieza conflict, but he did live in better circumstances than, let's say, like Gohan and Future Gohan and Future Trunks, like you mentioned, because of their emotional state, their mental state, their physical state, you know what I mean? Especially Gohan, because by that time, you got to factor in everything that Gohan went through in the main timeline that we see, from the beginning of the Saiyan arc with Raditz all the way to Frieza. Then he had to deal with these, pansy cyborgs running amok, constantly. So I definitely agree with you on that. But I think the overall big reason to why Trunks and Goten aren't growing is Toei. You know what I mean? They see money in kids. They see money in the fact that because it's like when you have like a little kid, like I'm gonna use my cousin for example, Candace. Now, the other day I showed a picture. I tagged you in. Remember, she drew Goten because she watched my live stream, and then she's not a huge fan of Dragon Ball, but she went to Google, typed in Dragon Ball kids, I believe she told me, and she found Goten and Trunks, and she liked the way Goten looks, so she drew him. So that's just money in itself, because when you have kids, they want to see strong, powerful kids. They're interested in kids and shows. This is Teen Titans. The list goes on. The superhero shows, you know what I mean? They want to see strong, powerful kids. That was the appeal to Gohan for the longest time. So there is an appeal to Goten and Trunks, and that's one of the main reasons why they stay young. I brought this up to you in one of our older videos a while back about the Patafu arc, and we talked about how it's just a gag. It's a running joke. Goten and Trunks, they look like little people, but they're super powerful, strong, you know what I mean? The appeal goes away when you have Trunks in a leather jacket looking all swole, you know what I mean? It doesn't give off the gag-like appeal that he's a kid who can kick ass, you know what I mean? Because now he looks like an adult who will kick your ass, you know? So, there you go. That's like the real reason, I'm assuming. But for the in-universe reason, I completely agree with you, because people really do overlook the fact that Goku just kind of shrugged stuff off back then. Yeah, he dealt with some conflict in the tournaments, where he was trying to defeat Shun, and he was trying to defeat Ten Shinhan. So I definitely see the conflict there, but overall, the dude was just living life. I think if he really wanted to, say his biggest conflict overall before Piccolo Daimao was what, maybe Tao Pai Pai, right? But that was it, because as soon as he, went up and met Karen and came back down, he pretty much whipped Tao Pai Pai's ass, and he went on to whip the entire Red Ribbon Army. He went and took them on, face to face. He went up against like 1,000 soldiers and beat them, So there you go. The guy kind of just always shrugged things off and on. Even in the DB filler, that he was never really in any real struggle, So I definitely agree with your, I guess, in-universe theory about why Goten and Trunks still look little. You know what I mean? I completely agree with you.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to just basically say about that, just kind of going back to the whole Vegeta thing, another kind of example there is, look, Vegeta didn't really even have that big of a power level. Look how, after he got his ass whooped by Goku and everyone in Earth, I mean, he was basically dying, and that's when the whole Zenkai's thing actually really came to fruition and actually started being really relevant in the series, especially through the Namekian arc. He just keeps getting beaten and pummeled and stuff, and he keeps growing to astronomical levels, and it just makes you think, right? It's just that in-universe explanation that maybe Vegeta wasn't actually getting like beaten up this bad, or maybe even at all. I mean, if you want to sit there and say the Bardock special, if you count that as your quote-unquote official canon, like, he takes out the Cybermen like they're nothing, like an entire group of them in that shot, and you're sitting there going, this guy has never actually had like anyone step up to him. And it's really strange compared to what you were saying, like there's Dodoria and Zarbon and even Kui and the Ginyu Force, and let alone Frieza, who he's grown up with. He knows on somewhat of an emotional social level, and yet they've never challenged him. He just never fought them. He's never had to feel that beat down that they could give to him at that point, or almost death-like situation. And he actually realizes, and he even said it in Dragon Ball Super to Frieza, I think in the movie and in the arc, but correct me if I'm wrong, I know it was in the movie. He's like, I can't have you kill Goku. Our rivalry is what keeps me going. It keeps me getting stronger. Because by the time, before he even met Goku, he didn't think any of this was possible. Until he met someone who literally, I guess, along with the group of friends and everything, literally kicked his ass and made him more of a man. And we haven't seen that. Goten and Trunks, just like you said, they haven't been in that situation. Goku was never in that situation, but you look at the heart, or even Vegeta too, but future Trunks and Gohan were just pushed from very early ages to mature and become stronger and more of their own selves. The one last question I have here is, we're getting closer, you and I have talked about this before, we're getting closer to Z. And at some point, however they're going to do it, if the story is going to insist on keeping the story pushing forward as fast as they have been, do you believe, or do you think that we're going to get Bra and Pan stepping into that kid arc and have Goten and Trunks grow up and actually be useful? And if they do grow up, do you think they'll be even less important than they are now?
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I can even add in Oob there as well, because like I mentioned, Toei knows that makes money. They know that's the appeal. So if you were to have Bra, Pan, and even Oob come in, you can definitely take it from there, and that would actually give Trunks and Goten a reason to grow. They get that overnight growth spurt, you know what I mean? And you have Trunks and Goten just looking a lot older and jacked or whatever, right? No, I'm just kidding. It will be overnight, but knowing Toei, maybe that'll be a funny gag. Goku shows up. When the hell did you get that tall? You know what I mean? We were gone 48 minutes. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, I can definitely see that happening, because we've done tons of videos. You've done a lot of videos on Oob. Oob has a lot of potential, and if you were to bring in someone like Oob and Pan, because with Bra, even though I want her to be a fighter, I've mentioned this before, and in the previous video, I'm not sure with you or not, but I mentioned it that it would be cool if they were to give her the brains too, like Brawn and Brains. So I think it was with you. Remember we were talking about her and Vegeta training, how it would be funny if Vegeta just goes a little too hard and breaks like the gravity room. So you have him stop, put the towel around his neck, drink some water, and you have her fixing it. That would be like really badass, because she can be all like, "What'd you do that for, Dad?" Real like loud mouth, but she's also training with him. But then she fixes the time machine, the whole Brawn and Brains. I think that would be a cool addition to that character, to where it's a mix of both Vegeta and Bulma. But with Pan and Oob, they can kind of be what Gohan was. The whole I want to train like Goku, or I want to train like my dad and Piccolo, you know. I want to get stronger. I want to improve. You know what I mean? I'm always going to be here for you guys. You can kind of get that with them. And then that's, of course, where most of the kids will probably get their appeal from, is they get the whole super strong, powerful kids. You know what I mean? Especially with Pam, because you're always, I hate to say it, but you're always just going to have that running gag of her being like a little girl. You know what I mean? I think they even made fun of that like in GT. So you're going to have that gag of like a little girl, but then she's going to come up to your face and knock you out, you know?
Yeah. You know, I think the main thing here is there's in-universe explanation if you want to go with this. I personally really like this opinion just because Saiyans have weirder biology than we do, at least the humans in this show, although Marin is the exception. And I think she's just part of the whole gag that we need kids and all this other stuff. But we'll eventually get past this if Super keeps going forward. But if you like Goten and Trunks right now, and you hate the fact that they aren't growing, I think you made a good point. They're probably not going to be as relevant once they grow up. And I know that's sad because they are cool characters, but we've seen this happen so many times before where the main character like Goku or something, you know, the series moves past people. And the mere fact that they're still kids at least kind of, you know, hints or at least shines the light on there's still potential, like the Patafu arc or right now where they have the little mini episodes or plots of the story that they haven't necessarily focused away on from the Tournament of Power on, but the idea that they might be important at least on an episode or two going forward. I mean, the whole series started with a Goten and Trunks adventure episode. So, I mean,
the sad thing about them becoming older is that they are going to become, what you mentioned, irrelevant, and I could actually see them taking the Piccolo / Vegeta spot where if a future villain comes, they're going to be like, you know, we can take you. They'll fuse Super Saiyan 3 adult Gotens. You think, oh, wow, look, you know, he's super strong, but he fights this new villain. Boom, bam, bing, gets his ass kicked, and then in comes God Vegeta and God Goku to save the day, which I could definitely see that happen. You know, they'll just kind of be moved up to the... Right now, they're little kids, but then they'll get moved up to the jabroni spots, which kind of sucks. Don't get me wrong. I could be completely wrong. Toei can make a whole arc focus on just them. That's not out of the question. Goten and Trunks do have fans, you know what I mean? So they can definitely do that, but it does seem that they would most likely take the, I gotta take the L, and then have Goku and Vegeta come save the day, you know what I mean? Kind of like what Vegeta did in the Black arc and what he's done in previous arcs, you know?
Yeah, but it would be really nice to actually see them get into a conflict. So take it as you will, just, you know, juggling. If they do grow up, they'd probably be jabronis like you said, but if they don't grow up, they're just going, this whole argument's going to keep revolving around itself. So we're not necessarily sure. You get what you get either way. But anyway, guys, with that being said, I think we're going to leave it off there. Please make sure to go down to the description section below and hit that link. Go make sure to subscribe to MJ's channel. The guy makes some really awesome content for you guys. And honestly, guys, I hope everyone has a good day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. And I hope everyone has a good day. It's been real.